Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss Pre-Market Report for February 1st, 2016. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss, with analysis for today's session here and for the rest of the week. Taking a look at the daily time frame of the ES here. Friday, we had a major squeeze event here. Prices held off of the 1879s and then squeezed through that previous week's high price and rallied to our first target and just within 6 points of our second target. 1921s was reached. 1933 was the high. I talked about 39 being the next point of emphasis that we need to reach to. So ever since we had this tail event here, our idea to defend prices between 30 and 46 here and to continue to defend the CLVN have played out very nicely. It took a while to get going. We knew that prices were coiling, and this week could be the week that we see expansion, but it was Friday afternoon where we saw significant expansion and rally from that range. And now, given that we have pushed through the top side of this narrow range here, it's going to be very important for bulls to defend a pullback to the top of that range, call it between 1900 and 1905s, for a shot at seeing a continuation into the next highest targets. We have 2039, obviously, which was our original target once this day printed. So 21 and 29 were the two targets. We've reached one of those. The next one up is going to be 1950 half with a shot to retest the major 1981 half CLVN from below. Retesting that level should be a beacon for bears to come in and defend for a shot at seeing the next move downward. Otherwise, we could be seeing a big roll back up. So this is going to be important. If the bulls are not able to defend any pullbacks here into 1908, 1904, then you could see a failure and a move back toward lows. Let's take a look at the intraday time frame. All right, here's an intraday time frame. One thing here that stands out is obviously the previous week's high price right here. Didn't even make it up that high before the previous close went offered. Then it was defended as resistance and took offered. Overnight VPOC offered and defended twice. So right now we're kind of on that pullback phase. And again, this is what you would expect in an uptrending squeeze market. So again, here is the key range we had from Friday's market, 1903 down to 1876 half. The 100% target was 1929 half. We reached that target. So now ideally what would happen is any pullback into the top of this range should be considered a defense area for a continuation higher. Failure to hold above 1903s could open up a return back toward 1876 and below. Let's take a look at crude oil. Here's a daily time frame. We've been trending downward in crude oil, and what we've seen is a solid bounce. This is probably the biggest bounce we've seen in a while. I believe it was measured at about 25% off the lows here, which is quite a bounce, and that happened very quickly. And I really didn't feel super confident in that bounce at any one time, but other than to say if they can continue to hold it above 30.14, that is bullish short term for a shot at seeing 35 quarter and perhaps up here at 37.81. I did mention that at some point we're going to find that low, and once we do, we're likely going to bounce back toward an HVN, and that would be 37.81. This didn't look like a true on rejection, which leads me to believe that this thing is still trending downward. And right now we're seeing kind of a doji day on Friday being offered through that low after a second lower high in a row. So right now, this could be an area here where failing to hold above 33.03 could be the death knell again for this commodity, as prices above this zone being offered and breaking back below 33.03. If there's a close below there, or if it's defended here during RTH, that could lead to a quick retest of 30.14 with a shot at seeing new lows ahead. So right now, this is the key level. It remains the key level. Here's 32.04. That was a level that's an HVN here that went bid. And now this retest right here should also be bid by bulls. Failure to hold that level opens up further downside price discovery. So this is going to be important to see if this pullback here will be seen as a buying opportunity by bulls, or if this is just a plain out rejection, because right now we haven't seen many buys with many waves. This is a wave one kind of thing, a pullback, and then you see the next wave up. Now this is a pullback. Ideally, you'd like to see bulls defend and squeeze, but this has been a highly bearish market, and typically these events have been opportunities to sell. So this will be important to see if there's another squeeze in hand, because that would tell us that the strength really is coming back in, at least on a short-term perspective. Looking at the RT chart here, 3204 and 3210 key level zones there. Prices offered above value on a 5-day basis here, and then they dropped down into the previous low, bounced and went offered through it and holding. So right now 3265 is going to be the key level to watch. You can see the intraday LVN here, 3265. Bears are trying to keep that offered for a push downward, and if prices push downward, you have another target at 3166 to play toward. That's going to be the 100% expansion target, or the 100% ADR target. Back above 3265 pushes price about a point higher into 3367, which would be 5-day VPOC. All right, let's take a look here at gold. Real quickly here, we have gold. Basically, gold is continuing to push higher, as we mentioned before. A nice squeeze. Top of the key range, 1113.70 here, holding above that. Also holding above the top of value right now, 1108 half. So a lot of nice key confluence zones here. I would say that bulls need to keep prices above this 1109, 1110 zone for a shot at seeing 1141 and 1160s. We have, since this is the new month, February, we have a new primary target for the month, 1164.80. That's probably a little too far to play to right now, so we can bring up a weekly target. Right now, we should be targeting 1138.40 on a first test basis here. So keeping above value here would suggest a continuation into that zone. Failing to hold above composite VPOC here, 1117.70, and breaking back below 1113s would open up a reversal back toward 1085.90 with scaling targets at each of these key ADR targets, 1101.20 and 1093.60. All right, taking a look at the NQ. Lastly, we have the NQ here. This one also saw a nice squeeze event on Friday. You can see prices had made lower highs day over day, had made lower lows inside day here, and the squeeze occurs to the upside. So typically speaking, with that squeeze going on, you see this high right here, this high right there. When price comes back to that high, it needs to be defended by bulls for a shot at seeing a further squeeze higher. We talked about this being that low on the day it printed, and any retest back toward the CLVN should be defended by bulls for a shot at seeing 43.40.75. So right now I'm saying that if price can hold above this high right here, which is 42s, right on the button, 4,200. If you can hold 4,200, the expectation would be for a continuation into 43.40 and a real shot at seeing a move into the primary weekly bull target, which right now is 43.79. So there's easily enough space here to get from 4,200 into about 43.50, 43.70, somewhere in that zone at the very least, and then an outside shot at reaching that next peak up, which is going to be about 4,400. Failure to hold above 4,200 opens up a big time retest back at this low, but I would say breaking into that zone likely sparks another wave of weakness to the downside. This is the key level to continue to defend for bulls, but support is waning. So this is important that this thing continue higher and seal this key range in, so we have our key level. So 43.40 is the next one on the docket, and that's all off of defending 4,200 at the very least, and possibly that 42.26 CLVN, which is currently being tested now. So taking a look at the intraday time frame, right here you can see that in overnight trading, we've basically seen price just auction lower, being offered right now at VWAP, ETH VWAP, and also at the midpoint. Value is offered, the previous high is offered, the previous close is offered. So everything is offered right now in the NQ. And that's good, because if this thing is going to keep bullish, you want price to go down first. You want price to come to you, and then you want to be able to bid it back up. So again, 4,200 is right here. So we have 4,200 to 41.96. That's also the previous session's midpoint. I would say if price drops into that area, that's the first test buy zone. That's your primary objective for a shot at seeing a push back to highs. Failure to hold above this 4,200, opens up a return back to 41.30 with a scaling point at 41.78. All right, that's it for now. Let's see how this thing plays out the rest of the week and into the new month of February. Good luck, trade well. I'll see you soon.